Prime IV Delray Beach helps you feel better, look better, and perform better with IV vitamin therapy. Each of our IV drips is the equivalent of 2.5 gallons of hydration and a custom blended mix of vitamins designed to help you reach your health goals. The top complaints we address are more energy, better sleep, sports recovery, meaning less soreness when you work out, or a great boost to your immune system. Come in if you're feeling under the weather or to help stave off those nasty bugs if someone's in your house and brought them home. Use the code word SWEET, SWEET, for 20% off any IV treatment valid at the Delray Beach location only.
Hello, everybody. It's Andrea and
Carolina, as in spicy.
Sweet and Spicy. Carolina, how many high noons have you had?
I've had quite a few. And I haven't drank in 8 days, so I'm kind of feeling it right now.
She's feeling spicy from the high noons, so this is going to be fun.
Extra spicy.
And
I have to admit, hold on, I'm the weakest link. Like, okay, so Andrea and I decided last week that we would start a detox. And we started it on Wednesday. And I lasted 8 days of sobriety. And
that we weren't going to drink for 30 days.
Right. And so
you lasted 8. I'm at 10 and I'm still going.
Right. So
I'm drinking kombucha, but this is 0.5%, so it doesn't count.
I'm the weakest link.
You didn't
spicy,
even tell me until today, which was really funny.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, my sobriety lasted 8 days, which was 2 days ago. So you didn't tell me, which I think is funny.
Well, last night was my first drink.
Oh, okay. So really, yeah.
I had a skinny margarita and it was terrible. I wish I hadn't had it.
Not worth it.
No.
But right now we have Izzy, Carolina's daughter, on Bluetooth and FaceTime because she's going to an 8th grade dance tomorrow. And we were just having this debate about whether or not this dress is acceptable for an 8th grader to wear to a dance. So yeah, back up, Isabel, so we can see it on the camera. Hold it up a little more towards here.
Can you see it?
Yeah.
We can see you perfectly.
It looks like a tank top to me that she pulled down.
Hey, wait.
And
you want to see the other one?
And somebody cut it
It's
at the bottom.
cute, except I'm not sure about the
see the
slit.
other one?
If it didn't have that slit, I probably would like it better. That slit's a little high.
Where are
Wait,
you?
hold
All
on.
I see is the ceiling.
Yeah, I know. I'm putting on a different dress.
Okay.
So
We'll get to look at one more.
what's your thoughts about it, Carolina?
I've seen both of these dresses before. I don't like the slit.
Right. I don't like the
slit
slit
bothers
either. It's
me.
too high to me, in my opinion.
All right, so this is the same. This one has a slit too, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And the other
the
debate.
slit. It's just this one's shiny, and this slit is worse. Okay,
Oh, yeah. Wow.
this is what they're wearing these days.
What in holy hell?
This
I
is
mean-
what they're wearing. It's right at the coochie.
fabric's cute, but the slits are a no. It's
Not even a slit. It's missing a leg.
Exactly. So, yeah, we're gonna have to talk about this more at home.
And the other debate is Converse with the dress or heels, right? Because
Heels.
you're going to wear
You're
heels.
gonna wear heels,
Oh.
right? Because your Converse.
Yeah, look.
I thought you were going to wear.
No.
Izzy wanted to wear Converse, but no, because that's a look that
Wait.
girls are wearing right now is Converse with dresses.
Yes,
tennis, tennis shoes.
And I don't like the high top Converse with dresses.
Yeah, agreed.
Like the low top
Yeah.
sneakers. And so these are the ones that she had gotten.
Oh, those are
the,
cute. I like
The
it.
high heels that she had gotten. So those are definitely cute. That's what she wore to the bar mitzvah
Nice.
at Throw Social.
Very cute.
Okay.
Shout out to Throw Social. Love you guys.
Love you too.
Love you.
So those dresses are probably a no from your second
so-
mom, Andrea.
Yeah, since you won't listen to me, I'll let you ask Andrea. She can decide.
No, that's okay. No, that's okay.
Okay. That's what I thought. Love you.
Okay.
Bye, Izzy.
Love you guys. Have
Bye.
fun.
Bye.
Bye.
That was funny. So how's being a single mom these days, Carolina? Which we just finished on our
right?
last episode.
That's what we just talked about.
I know.
You see, this is just a third of what I have to deal with. You have
Yeah.
no idea.
I mean, that's 8th grade. It's pretty.
I can't. It's just going to get
Shocking.
worse.
Yeah. Well, one thing we are going to do is kind of do some like questions to get to know each other, get to know Sweet and Spicy.
Yeah, because a lot of people think they know us and they don't.
I know. And Janine kind of threw out that some of our questions are boring. So I looked up some other questions. We'll see if these are more interesting. You? I don't know that she's going to think they're more interesting.
So my questions were like PG and Janine's are like XXX rated.
Janine's was, what was it? If we were at a party and a guy dared you and her to make out, would you?
Yeah, that's a great first question.
If I was not in a relationship, 100%.
Have you made out with a girl?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I made out with a girl too.
But it's been
a long time.
Yeah. I was young.
YOLO.
Right. Young and dumb. Yeah, I don't think not since I've had kids.
Wow, that's a long time ago.
Because I can't.
Because your son's what, 20?
He's 21.
21.
But once you have kids.
It's different.
It's so different. It's so different.
You're a mom now. You're serious.
Yeah, you're like, I can't do that. You know, funny story. I
don't have sex in a car.
Gosh, I was in the restaurant business when I was, for a long time, 18 to like 30. And I was working for this restaurant and we would go to this pub afterwards every night. And, you know, back in the restaurant business, like it's lots of alcohol and other things going on. And so we would go to this pub. It was called Legends in Pompano. And fantastic place. We'd have a ball. But there was this really much older gentleman, probably in his 70s. And I had been dating somebody for a while. We broke up and he found out that we had broken up. And so he had approached me and said, listen, but he also owned hotels and restaurants in the area. So he had said, I have a proposition for you. I'd like to meet. Let's go out to lunch. And I'm thinking this is a business proposition or a business opportunity. So I'm like, okay, yeah, sure, no problem. So we go have lunch and he tells me that if I would agree to sleep with him once a month, he would pay me $2,000 a month and pay all of my bills on top of that.
You had a sugar daddy proposition back in the day before it was like a thing. Or at least online. Like it's online now, but this was like before then.
This was before then.
Wow, pretty interesting.
So I had a really hard time with that.
Yeah.
If I had not had kids, I may have said yes.
Yeah.
But the fact that I was a mom, it really grossed me out.
Yeah.
And so that's the difference. Like once you have a kid, you see things completely differently.
Right.
And he did hand me an envelope that very day.
With
said, don't open it until you get in the car. And there was $2,000 in the envelope.
Ballsy.
And so I went back and I kept it.
Yeah.
I was like, hell yeah, who drinks on me tonight? And my friends are like, are you going to do it? And I was like, absolutely fucking not. I cannot do that. I just can't. I'm a mom. I can't do that.
What did he look like?
Not great. Like it would have been a real struggle. I would have had to have been completely annihilated or put a bag over his head or something. But he was married.
Wow.
With kids and grandkids. And, but man, I was in my late 20s.
Yeah.
And boy, could I have used that money then.
Right.
So it was tempting, but at the end of the day, I was like, no, I cannot do it. My friends were like, well, can you give him my number? And I'm like, sure, here you go. And so I don't know what ended up happening with that, but
wow.
I turned it down. But I did take the $2,000.
That's crazy.
I took the initial non-refundable deposit.
Yeah, really. For no strings attached.
Yeah.
Pretty interesting.
Yeah.
That's a good one. What's the largest age difference you've ever had with somebody?
That I've actually been with? Like sexual, like slept with?
Yeah, like slept with.
I've always gone for younger guys.
Mm-hmm. So you've never like had where they're older than you?
I did have somebody that was older than me. I will not say who that is.
That's
because
fine.
a lot of people know him.
What was the age difference? I think I know who it is. I won't say.
The age difference is not much. It's probably maybe 8 years, 9 years.
That's not much.
Yeah, maybe not even that much. So it's gone like 7, 8, 9 years either way. But I've both of my ex-husbands were 7 and 8 years younger than me.
That's crazy.
So I tend to go for younger guys.
You do.
The older guys are boring. I don't like it.
That's so funny. I tend to go the other way.
Yeah.
I used to. And then when I was dating, I went younger, but now I'm dating somebody a little older. So anyway, are you going to ask me something now?
Okay, I'm going to ask you, but I'm not there yet. So ask me another one.
Okay. If you could live in any era, past or future, when would you choose to live?
Oh, God. I'm going to go with the 90s.
You go back to the 90s?
I'd go back to the 90s. I knew you were going to laugh at that.
I'm totally laughing at that.
That was the best time of my life. I think it was the best music. I was in high school for the first part of that.
You said you were a bad kid, though.
I was, but I had a lot of fucking fun. So
you're denying
I was
your daughter
in my best shape.
Fun.
I played sports. Oh, yeah. Totally pre-kids. Absolutely.
Well, of course. I'm just saying you're denying her all that fun by not letting her go to the movies and sit in the back row.
Right. Yeah. No. I did plenty of that. I know what that's like, so I can't let her do that. But yeah.
But did you see the irony?
I know.
That it's like the best era of your life, but you're not letting her do it.
No, absolutely not. She can find her own.
It's just funny.
And her should do with like college and acing exams or something.
Yeah. You think? Is that going to happen?
Yeah. I mean, hopefully. You never know.
You never know. I'm here to posit that it may not happen that way for her.
No, you're supposed to wish that it would.
I'm not wishing it won't. I'm not wishing. I'm just saying if I were to place a bet, I'm not going to bet that that's going to be her story. That her best era of life is going to be college because she was acing exams.
Right. Yeah, I know.
So
it's a little ridiculous.
We just saw the split in the dress.
I would go back to the 90s because it was, in my opinion, it was the best music. It was the best time of my life. I was playing sports. I was in the best shape I've ever been. I had amazing people in my life. Not that I don't now, but it was just a really, really, really good time in my life.
Yeah.
So you're probably going to say like you'd go to like the 1930s or something.
I don't know. It's an interesting thing.
Or Woodstock. I don't know.
I mean, I do think the 60s would be hella fun to live in. And
disco. I do like the 70s because of disco.
I don't know. The 70s were different. I think the 60s were better than the 70s in terms of like what was happening in terms of like music and the revolution. You know, it was just a different era. Like, I mean, you know, my dad's very nostalgic for it because of the cars, like, and the baby boomers were driving everything because they were kids, right? They were teenagers. It drove everything. Like the Mustang came out because they were turning 16. Like all that was driven by the baby boomers. So I definitely have a draw to that era. And I'm not really a hippie in that way, you know, of like the Woodstock and that. But I do think it's interesting because, I mean, for one, it was a sexual revolution. And I do think it's more innocent than even it was now. We see, like, what we have now is, like, I don't know, seedier somehow. Does that make sense? Like WAP from some of the music and stuff we have now. Like,
it's funny that you mentioned that it was sexual.
Well, it was a sexual revolution.
But is it okay for me to say, like, you are definitely a very sexual person?
I am.
Like, I have really learned that about you. Like, holy crap.
Shh, it's a secret.
No, that you have to, no. We're not being specific or
but
getting
remember,
into detail, but you are a very sexual person.
Well, yes.
Like, it's shocking to me.
I know, and now you're going to shock a bunch of people out in the world.
Tell me more.
That's what high noons will do to you.
Tell me more.
I just have a very healthy sexual drive. We'll just leave it at that. Is that good enough, Janine?
No, it's not.
That scratches the surface.
Right.
When you say a healthy sex drive, what does that entail? Like you need sex every day?
I mean, it wouldn't be the worst thing on the world. Sorry to my friends in the West Coast listening to this. My mom, hopefully she's not listening.
I mean, sex every day is to me is not being the most sexual person ever. Like, sex every day is sex every day. I'm talking about places, things, experiences. I won't get into detail, but you live on the edge a little bit more, I think, than I do.
Okay.
But in different
We're talking
ways.
about
There's things
one
I would do you
really,
wouldn't do.
Which is, I may have fooled around in a car recently. This is a while ago. And you were like freaking out that I'm going to get arrested. And to me, that's like, I was more concerned that a friend of ours was stealing shit from bars and putting it in your purse. And I'm like, that's more problematic to me than fooling around in a car. Because the cops are not going to arrest people if they're not drunk and whatever. So, like.
But you will also, somebody can just call you up, somebody that you're seeing or like into, and call you up just for that. And you'd be like,
not necessarily.
Okay.
Not necessarily. I don't think that's true. I do, like, you're laughing because I had dates where, certain activities might have been planned. But part of that's just you're a busy person. You're scheduling your life. Like, so I don't always have the time for spontaneity right now because I'm busy. I also...
But you don't just...
I know.
And we can bleep this out if you want. But you don't schedule dates. You schedule sex.
I know it was a date. Those were date nights. 100% they were date nights. We had dinner. We watched a movie.
I can go back in my text messages and show you that you told me he's coming over for sex.
I knew it was happening. But we had a date night. That was the
conversation. No, it was not with baseball dad.
100% with baseball dad. It was, we had dinner, we planned the movie, and we had a date night, but we knew we were going to have sex. Okay. So. Yes.
Okay. What happened recently when he called you? What was the last phone call?
Well, it's not phone calls, but I cut it off because the emotional connection had waned. Like,
wait, you cut it off after, but what came before that?
Well, he came over.
No, before that.
I don't know what you're getting at, and I'm not sure I want to say it. So
he called you or texted you for a particular reason.
Yeah, he wanted to have sex.
Right.
Yeah. And he came over, we fooled around, but we had a date night. We watched a movie, we ate dinner, and I was like, I think I'm done with this. Sometimes something fizzles out.
Yeah.
And he had no time, and that's part of the lack. It was not a relationship, and that's what I'm looking for. And he's not a bad guy. He's a good guy.
It just sounds like you're looking for a healthy physical relationship with substance, and that's a healthy thing.
I mean, she's mocking me because she's saying it's not a date night. They were date nights. Did we go out? No, but we planned to watch a movie. We had dinner. And we fooled around.
I'll leave it there.
Thanks. We might be re-recording this episode. There's a lot of information about Andrea's life out there. Go to God.
Listen, I will match you. I promise you, I'll either match you or go above that. Because I'm a little bit. See, that's where you might do things more risque than I would, but I will talk a lot more, and
Great.
I will divulge much more information. So, Janine, get ready because you could ask me pretty much whatever you want. I have no shame. I mean, I'm not going to say I won't answer everything. I mean,
so in your ideal relationship, not saying your current one, but if you're in an ideal relationship, how many times a week are you having sex?
3.
That's your ideal. And it's not scheduled ever. It's just all spontaneous.
I do not like scheduled anything.
Oh,
I like
in sex because you like everything else scheduled.
I am a very I like structure,
right?
But not when it comes to that. Like I don't. Yeah, I like spontaneity when it comes to that. Like let it happen, or else if it's planned, it kind of to me loses the fun in it.
No,
no, I just. Janine, what's your thought? Do you like to plan it, or do you like for it to just happen?
I definitely like it to just happen.
Yeah.
I can't plan any.
Ever?
The thought, well, if I'm...
Can I bring up the conversation we had just a little bit ago?
Sure, go for it. I'm an open book.
Your husband was here, and you said basically if you have a date night, you know it's a sex night.
Well, yeah, that's the problem. It's like when you go on a first date, you're not expecting that sex happens. It just kind of happens. It's like you're someone's courting you, right? They're trying to court you. They're trying to make a good impression. Once you're in a relationship, it's like, oh, we have a date night. It's implied. And that takes the fun out of it. It's like, why does it have to be a date night? Isn't every night a date? Like, why do you, like Valentine's Day, for example, it's like, I hate that holiday. It's like, why does it have to, does everyone in America have to plan sex and chocolate and flowers for one day of the year? Like, so boring.
But that's okay. That day is a bit contrived. Let's be real. And men hate that holiday more than anything. That's a fact. You can Google it. The most hated holiday of men is Valentine's Day. And it's because there's a lot of pressure on them, right? For real. And I know you said you don't like going out on Valentine's because it's like expensive and crowded and blah, 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 right? But I'm talking if you're like dating somebody, you don't live together and you're both busy, like, what's the problem of just saying, hey, we're coming over. We know it's going to happen. It doesn't mean it has to like, it's not like they walk through the door and you're jumping each other. It's not like that.
I think that was before I was married. When I was hot and heavy for someone and I was like, woohoo, and they're really hot and they're just like ready to go and you're newly dating and you're in the honeymoon phase, then absolutely, you know what you're getting into. Like, cut to the chase. You know what I mean? It's like, let's not go out to dinner. That's a waste of time.
Yeah.
Okay. On to a lighter note. Okay, so Janine's going to think this is a boring question, but
it's all right.
Are you more introverted or extroverted?
I think I'm slightly more extroverted. I definitely have to be out amongst people a certain amount of the time, but I also need my downtime, my alone time, my cave time, whatever you want to call it, where I recharge. And that is typically, it doesn't always have to be by myself, but it's not in a big group of people. Maybe like you and I at the beach just chilling, you know, a little bit of conversation, but it's not like we have to talk the whole time, right? Like I had a friend in Colorado and her and I would literally just sit there. We'd like flip through magazines or we'd have something on TV or whatever. And our other friend would come over who was way more extroverted. She's like, you guys, because she wanted to hang out with us. She's like, you guys are boring. But that's how we would recharge, right? So I have a mix, but I think I'm slightly more than 50% extroverted with that need to recharge.
Do you think you've become more extroverted in the last year?
No.
Really?
No, I've always been an extrovert more than an introvert.
Wow. So from an outsider, I would absolutely say I've seen 100% difference.
Yeah.
That you were more confidence. Of an introvert. Right. But either way, it affected your introvertness and extrovertness.
Yeah.
From an outsider's point of view, which is great.
Yeah. Interesting.
I think more confidence in people, you become more extroverted.
Yeah.
I think people tend to be more introverted when they have insecurities and they're self-conscious about certain things, and not always.
Yeah.
But I think in a case where somebody has done a major transformation, mentally or physically, you're naturally going to become more confident, which naturally you're going to become more extroverted.
Yeah. I think too, it's not just the weight loss that increased my confidence. I've gotten to know people. Like, okay, you've known me for just over 3 years. And in the beginning, it was, you know, here and there. Like, you don't really know somebody. And I didn't know anybody. So I'm like figuring out the lay of the land, you know, getting to know people, getting to know who's friends, getting to know who's like fun and interesting.
But have you gotten to know people more because now you're going out more, because now you're more confident and feel better?
But in the beginning, people didn't invite me out. When I first moved here, people did not invite me to go out. I only ever hung out with people at events like through the chamber, through networking. I didn't really get those invitations, and maybe it's because I wasn't as seemingly outgoing. But there is an element of in a new group, I do get quieter. I want to see how the group works. I want to see who does what. And there's ebb and flow to it, but I do think that is for me. I will be quieter in the beginning, and I have to see how the dynamic is of whatever group it is.
Right.
So, but I've always been an extrovert.
Okay. Do you have any phobias?
I mean, my irrational one is of giant squid.
Oh my God, what?
I know, I really don't like them because they have multiple arms and like they can get really big, and obviously those live very deep. And I said irrational, it's rational. Like sharks, like I've scuba dived with sharks, not like they do where you actually go and they're chumming the water, but I've been in the water and there's sharks there. I actually love it when you see sharks scuba diving. It's so cool. So I don't have like, and I'm not claustrophobic like that. It's really just more giant squid, which is irrational. I get it. I just don't.
That is so crazy.
I don't like the thought of all the arms holding you because you get one off, but there's 7 more. Like that, I don't like that. I know. I agree.
And that's the only thing that you're scared of?
I mean, you know, in terms of like actually rational fears, like, you know, you always think of somebody you really love dying. I mean, that to me is one thing that, and it's not like I ponder it all the time, but it comes up, you know, like we know we're all going to die. So I've been through it of people dying early and it's hard. And a lot of times when somebody dies young, it's unexpected, you know? So I've been through that and I've seen it with, you know, we've lost friends of ours unexpectedly in Delray since I've been here. And it's really hard when somebody just goes quickly. That's right. Harder than when somebody in a different way dies slowly. That's still hard in a very different way because I've seen that too. So of course that's always it. And then I think from a like relationship perspective, something I've really had to work on is that men leave. Like that's been like the underlying one, that men leave. And I've really worked on it. And I think it's mostly healed now. It's sometimes it can like rear up, but it's one of those things that you kind of get to the conclusion of, yeah, they can leave or they can choose to stay, but why not see what happens?
Right.
What's your irrational fear? That's a good one. Or fear. What's your fear?
I have a lot of phobias.
Give us your top 2 or 3. What's your most irrational one, like giant squid?
No, I don't really have any irrational ones.
You're like nothing crazy like that.
No, I'm not afraid of a sea creature. I mean, sharks, obviously, sharks. I mean, yeah, but I'm afraid the thing I fear most is flying, which you knew.
Yeah.
Death is my second one. Heights is my third. But I think the older I've gotten, the more I fear. And I also think, again, kids have played a part in that. Before I was a mom, I was very fearless. I didn't, there was like nothing that I was afraid of. And since I've had kids and the older they get and the older I get, the more things I fear. Like,
why do you think that is?
I don't know. But
so interesting.
It's unhealthy. It's gotten to the point where I think it's a little unhealthy. And I've thought about actually going to see somebody about it because I feel like I'm riddled with fear all the time about stupid shit. You know, for example, things like my daughter will say, I want to go over to my friend's house. We're going to sleep over. And then in the morning, we're going to go walk to the beach. I don't allow her to do that because I am fearful she's going to get hit by a car. So those thoughts are constantly running through my mind. And I know it's not healthy.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I would say maybe see a therapist about that because it's definitely something to like figure out what's underlying.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
It's bad. It's really bad.
Yeah.
So
on that happy note, you got a question.
Didn't I ask the last question? I asked your phobia question.
I know, but I asked it to you back.
Okay, so Janine, where are you at?
I'm just thinking about my phobia as you guys are talking.
Oh yeah, what is your phobia?
I am terrified of bridges.
Really?
Oh my gosh, I am too.
Terrified.
I'm always afraid my car is gonna open when my car goes over.
Yes, and I'm gonna be submerged in water and I'm not gonna be able to get out. Like when that ship.
Oh yeah, hit the Baltimore Bridge.
Yeah, that is like my worst nightmare. I am terrified when I go over the 7 Mile Bridge, like to the Keys, or like the Skyway Bridge in Tampa. I am shaking. I am literally shaking. I can't handle it.
So Janine.
Yes.
I have put so much thought into this. So there's 3 things I could tell you to do when you go over a bridge.
Okay.
That have made me calm down. Number 1, before you go over the bridge, roll your windows down.
Okay.
Do not drive over with your windows up because once you hit the water, the electric goes out and you can't roll them down.
Ah, okay.
So before you go over the bridge, make sure your windows are down because that is your way out.
Okay.
Also, think about your seatbelt. And this is how you could see this is a big fear of mine too. Again, a lot of the times I've heard the seatbelt won't come undone.
Oh gosh.
If you go into the water. So if you carry a pair of scissors in your glove box,
but if I can't reach my glove box
or the center console,
okay,
you make sure you have a pair of scissors. So at worst case scenario, you could cut the seatbelt.
They actually make tools that you can get for your car that it has a pointed end. So if you had to break the window, it will, you literally push it into the window and it's designed to break the window.
It's like a center punch.
And I don't know if that's what they call it. And then it has a blade on it to cut the seatbelt because this is literally why they've developed it. Because, you know, if you're in New York in the winter, you don't want to roll the windows down because it's freaking cold. So they have tools like that, but it's good, you know, scissors. Yeah. But sometimes scissors are hard to get through that thicker material, and this is a blade.
So if you're that fearful of it, I would get that and keep it in your car. But that is one thing I've learned is keep your windows down or put your windows down before you do it, because you're not, once you go down, you're not going to think about that. And then you're stuck. And then something to cut the seatbelt in order to get out.
That's a good point. I'm terrified. Just thinking about it makes me gives me like the heebie-jeebies.
You said 3 things, no?
I know. I don't know what the third thing.
Okay. Those are good though.
Yeah.
And just know that statistically, it's like really low. Does that help? No.
No. That's like people telling me, whenever I tell them I'm afraid of flying, they're like, do you know what your chances are of crashing in a plane? I'm like, they say you're more likely to get into a car accident than you are to a plane crash. But if you get into a plane crash, what are the chances of you surviving?
Pretty low.
Versus getting into a car crash.
I don't know.
The car crash is much higher.
Yeah.
You get into a plane crash, you're pretty much done.
Probably.
So
yeah,
that's always my answer to that.
There you go. But it's just so less likely to happen. Especially the commercial ones. When was the last time a U.S. one? I mean, there have been some that have had some instances, but people didn't die in the U.S., but abroad maybe. I don't know. Okay, I have a question for you. If you had to choose one sense to lose, what would you choose?
Wow. Definitely would not be sight. So it would not be my hearing. What is it? Sight?
Hearing, smell, taste, and touch.
Wouldn't want touch. Wouldn't want sight. Wouldn't want hearing. So I've actually lost a couple of those 5 because of COVID. Mm. So
smell and taste.
Yeah. And I've had COVID 8 times.
I know.
And after the first one, I lost my sense of smell and taste. Not completely, but once you lose one, you kind of lose the other. But out of the 5, if you didn't lose one without the other, I would probably have to say smell. Because I want to taste my food.
Yeah.
I don't care if I don't smell something. It's probably better that I don't.
But you know how much food taste is related to smell?
Right. That's what I'm saying. If one wasn't tied to the other,
I gotcha.
Then it would be
smell.
It would be smell.
It's interesting. I thought taste maybe because I don't know. It's hard.
You wouldn't ever taste ice cream again or a glass of wine or.
But then it's just kind of like whatever. Then you don't need it.
That would be awesome.
I know it's not wholly unappealing to me either.
But you'd still need it.
Yeah.
Carrots.
Still need it.
I'd eat carrots.
I still need it.
Carrots. I like it. Food you don't like. Watermelon, Janine.
But I would eat a ton of watermelon.
Janine, I'm still waiting for some racy questions. So you got to come up with something soon.
Oh my gosh. Okay. So here we go. So for both of you ladies, if you were stranded on an island and you had to pick one tool, not a man, like a tool, but if you had to pick like a literal tool to stay on the island with, you were given one thing, what would it be?
It could be any tool?
Any tool.
I think it would have to be something, I don't know if it's like a chainsaw or a knife or a saw, something like that, because you can create shelter, like cut down the, branches. Well, I mean, if you had an axe or a saw.
Think you're by yourself.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know. I guess a knife, cut stuff, kill
machete,
stuff.
Something like
right?
That. Yeah.
Okay, Janine, what would yours be? You sound like you already know.
I would definitely have like a machete.
Yeah, that's good. It's
so
good. They're
handy.
You could slice, palm trees down and make shelter. So it'd be a machete, because the chainsaw, you'd need like gasoline, wouldn't you? Don't you need like power and gasoline for a chainsaw?
You do.
Okay.
Okay, so before we go to the next question, Janine, can you check your text messages?
I can't, because my phone is recording you on it.
What are you looking at?
Emiliano is coming around with a wrench.
Look
at
him.
Can Emiliano see this?
No. No, I can't.
Can Emiliano see what?
She's holding up a high noon.
Oh, no. He can't. Yeah.
Okay, so my question is, what did you want to be when you were young? What did you want to be when you grew up?
So when I was younger, I wanted to be a ballet dancer, which is ironic because I never took ballet.
What? Really? A ballet dancer?
I had pictures in my room of ballet shoes and like.
Really?
Yeah. I was in love
with it. Did you ever take it?
No, I did not.
So where did that come from?
I don't know. It was interesting. I was a weird little kid. I read a lot. I liked TV, and so I watched a lot of stuff. And I don't remember if there was something in ballet, but I'm sure I read books about like ballerinas or something that, dancers. And then I switched because I started watching Law & Order. I would sneak out of my room to watch Law & Order, and I was 10. So it was late 80s, right? And I loved Law & Order. I don't know, did you ever watch it?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
You know me. I think I've watched every episode of Law & Order.
I mean, they were so glamorous and like cool. And now you watch it, you're like, what was I looking at? But, I just thought that was a very interesting profession. And I was very good at arguing. And I would argue to anybody about anything, even as a kid. Like, I would try to argue. And so, of course, people tell me, you'd make a good lawyer. And I was like, well, that's what I'm going to be. And I did go to law school and didn't love it and had a complete, change in how I view the world and what I want to do with my time in the world. And it does not involve practicing law.
Wow.
Yeah. But I did it.
Good job.
Yeah. My professor, because I was an English major, and she tried to get me to get my master's in English and become a teacher. And I was like, no. I was very clear, no. But I was good at it. I was good at writing. I was good at literature. And, but I knew there was no way I was going to be a teacher.
So it's funny that you say that. So my parents and people I knew growing up would tell me that I should have been a lawyer or a journalist.
Yeah.
Because I loved to argue and debate.
Oh.
And I always thought and wanted to be right. And the journalist was because I was very good at writing.
And you're good at snooping, investigations.
So that's what I wanted to be. I wanted to be an FBI agent. And that is something that I'm very good at. If I put my mind to it, I will find out. I've always found out stuff I didn't really want to find out, but I put my mind to it and
found out.
I'll get the scoop.
Yeah.
But yeah, I wanted to be an FBI agent. I wanted to be an interior designer. I wanted to be an equestrian at some point.
I had that too.
Did you?
Yeah. And in England. So I went to school, when I was mid-teens, I loved all things British. And I like had, like the English style riding boots and the riding pants, like I was obsessed. And so I was like, and when I found out there was a college of the church I grew up in England, because my mom said she would pay for college if I went to those church schools.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, great, Mom, my second year of college, I'm going to school in England for a year. Peace out.
Wow.
And I did. And then I got there and I'm like, oh, this is very different than what you think of as British. Like there's a definite like lower class British and upper class British. And most of what we had seen at that point was upper class British. And you think it's all like that.
Yeah, yeah.
It's definitely not all like that.
So,
I'm sorry to have interrupted you, equestrian, but.
So when I was growing up, my family's, Venezuelan and riding horses is very big there.
Yes.
And in Wellington, there's a lot of Venezuelans there and they compete and everything. And my uncle my whole family grew up on horses. And my grandfather, when I was around the age of 5, he bought all of his grandkids a horse. Mine died because it got bit by a snake.
Wow.
And we had ranches in Venezuela. This was before they lost everything. But my uncle was a professional rider, and he was in the Olympics with Bruce Jenner.
Wow.
And they became friends, and he was competing in a competition in Wellington. And this was, I want to say this was in the 80s. Mm-hmm. And my mom's favorite actor in the entire world was Paul Newman at the time.
Oh, yeah.
So we were there, and somebody was in a parachute, and I don't know if it was accidental or not, but they landed in the, right near, the little trailer where they sold the hats and the stuff. And it was Paul Newman.
Wow.
That was in the parachute that landed. And like I said, I don't know if it was on purpose or by accident that he landed there, but it was him that landed there. My mom was with us.
Freaked out.
So it was, oh my God, it was great.
That's funny.
Yeah. So
I mean, he was a good looking man.
Oh gosh, he was awesome.
A good looking man. Yep.
Yeah.
For sure.
So that was a pretty cool experience.
That's fun.
Yeah.
I like it.
So Janine.
Yes.
What'd you want to be? A dominatrix.
I was actually, my senior superlative, what they wrote about me in the yearbook was most likely to have her own talk show. And that kind of.
Are you serious?
Yeah. And that kind of came true. I've always wanted to have a show, and I didn't realize that, 20 years ago that would lead me to podcasting, but it led me to radio and TV production and now podcasting. So yeah, I'm kind of living out what I've always wanted to do.
Awesome.
Yeah. It was kind of neat,
crazy.
Actually. Yeah.
And it's cool because for me, I wanted to be a lawyer, but it changed. I did go do that. I could go practice law. I have no desire. But so it's cool that what you wanted to do is it's related to what you do and you still love it.
I love it. I love the art of conversation. And I think I like having conversations that are not cookie cutter, that you can have a real conversation with your friends or with someone, or it makes me happy.
Yeah. That's awesome. I like it. You have another one?
Let's see.
Okay, I have one. You ready?
Yep.
What's the funniest thing that has ever happened to you? I know, thought-provoking, huh? Making you think.
Gosh, the funniest thing that's ever happened to me.
Do you have one out there?
Oh my God, I have. It's funny / most embarrassing moment. I think it goes hand in hand.
I was just gonna say, funniest and embarrassing goes.
Yes.
And I had a feeling this might come up, and I was debating whether or not I would answer this. But you go ahead, Janine.
It was actually on my honeymoon. So we went to Florence, Italy. We did a 10-day trip because I used to live in Italy when I was younger. I studied abroad, and then I moved back there back in 2007. It's a long story. But when I went for my honeymoon, our best friends were going as well. They were celebrating their 15th wedding anniversary. So we said, why don't we all just go together and split Airbnbs and just have fun? And so we decided to do that. So I was playing tour guide because I was the only one who speaks Italian, and we were in Florence, which is my favorite city, and we were going to see the Statue of David, and We had all had breakfast that morning. We didn't have a reservation. We were waiting in line for 2 hours to see David. And I did not feel well at all. And I kept getting out of line and walking around, getting some water. And I kept looking at Roy and I'm like, I don't feel well. So I was walking around while our friends were standing in line for us because otherwise we would have been, SOL. And we finally get back in line and there's a group of Asian tourists with literally only speaking Mandarin right in front of us. And it was they were the next group to go in to the museum. And then we were behind them. And I looked at my friend and she goes, "Are you okay?" And I put my hand over my mouth and then projectile vomited all over. Now, this is in a square with 2,000 people.
Yeah.
I projectile vomited in front of all the people, all their backpacks, all over myself, in my hair, everywhere. And I can remember, I don't know what they were saying in Mandarin, but what it kind of boiled down to was the girl said, "Is there anything on me?" And the guy said, "No, absolutely not." He was not getting out of line. They were next to go. So they had to walk in to see David with my vomit all over them. I was covered in it from head to toe. I had to go into thank God it happened while I was outside because I would have been banned from the academia in Florence. But it was mortifying to vomit in front of 2,000 people.
Yeah.
And they were all staring at me and it was awful. That's all. That's all I got.
Wow.
It's pretty good. Oh, I don't like vomit. I'm just a little bit of a sympathetic puker. I can handle a lot. Vomit is when I'm no. I know.
What's yours?
Funniest?
Yeah.
I don't know. I was thinking, and I'm I don't know that I have a good one. This one is recent. I don't know that's the funniest ever, but when I kind of got salty with my sister, and it was pretty funny. So we were in Sedona last fall, and I was with my sister and my cousin, and we went into this coffee shop, and for some reason, I had to go back out to the car. And so I went out to the car, and there's a pair of underwear in the parking lot. And I was like, that is so weird. And I look at them, and I'm like, those are my freaking underwear.
What?
Yes.
What?
They were my and literally just in the middle of this parking lot. And I knew right away, it was those are my underwear. So you know how stuff has static cling on the inside of your clothes or something? It was inside the pant leg of the pants I was wearing and had fallen out of my pants and was in the middle of the parking lot. And I was
are you serious?
I figured it out. I picked him up. I put him in the car. And of course I told my sister and my cousin and they were dying. They thought it was so funny. So I was like, it's not that funny. I got kind of mad, but it is really funny because it was just so freaking random to look down and be like, those are underwear. Those are my underwear.
In the middle of the parking lot.
Yeah.
Holy
middle
cow.
of the parking lot.
Did anyone see you pick them up?
I don't think so, but who knows? It wasn't super busy, thank God. But I was like, it's so freaking random.
Wow.
I mean, silly, but that's just the one I can think of.
That's pretty bad.
I have another one I'm going to tell you off air afterwards, but I'm not going to tell it on there.
So, gosh, no one's ever going to look at me the same after this, but I will go ahead and say it.
I like it.
Okay. So, when I had my son, you guys haven't given birth, but when you, at least back in the day, when you had a child and you leave the hospital, you get these net underwears.
Yeah. They think they still give them, don't they? Pretty sure.
I don't know. So you have this net underwear. So it was very, very new, maybe a week or two since I had my son. And a bunch of us, my husband at the time and the family decided to go to Outback in Coral Springs at the Coral Springs Mall near there or whatever. So we go eat. I had coffee. And then for whatever reason, we decided we were going to the mall for something. So my husband and I and my son in the stroller went to Sears. And we get into the elevator on the bottom. And between the bottom and the top, I had to pee. That's what I thought I had to do. So all of a sudden, without me even knowing that I had to go to the bathroom, I started going to the bathroom. And it was not pee.
Yeah.
I had things change in your body when you have and you don't feel things and whatever. So my husband, luckily it was only the three of us in the elevator. He looked down and he thought that maybe like it was blood.
Oh my God.
I was having my period or something. It was not.
What was the meme Janine sent us the other day? It's a good day when you haven't shit your pants.
I said that.
You sent that?
Yes.
Oh, you sent
based
that.
on our conversations. So I was having a bowel movement in the elevator and I didn't even know it.
Yeah.
That is epic.
So it gets worse. So he's like freaking out. I already know what's happening and I can't even talk. So the elevator's open.
Oh, no.
And we see the sign to the restrooms all the way on the other side of the store. And I'm like, how are we going to make this happen? Like, what am I going to do? So I literally get out of the elevator and go left. And now I'm crawling the walls, leaving a trail all the way to the other. I mean, like literally, I'm crawling the entire wall. I can't go through the middle because everyone's going to see what's happening. So I crawl the walls all the way to the other side. I get into the bathroom finally. I'm in there for like 2 hours.
Wow.
When I tell you, it was everywhere. It was everywhere. Like, I don't know what happened to me. It was awful. And it was so bad that he finally had to go he was like, I don't know if she died.
Right.
I don't know what happened. So he had to go get employees
to come in and check
on me.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden there's blankets and towels, all kinds of shit being brought to me. And
for shit.
Yeah. And I had to use the stroller came in with me and my son's blankets were used and it was the worst moment of my life. I mean, I not only had to clean myself up.
Right.
I had to clean the entire bathroom.
Right.
Basically.
I wish you could see my facial expression right now. That is awful.
It was the worst thing I think that's ever happened to me in my entire life. I will never forget that.
Just here's the thing.
But it was not, it was completely out of my control.
I was going to say, nobody looks at you different. Like the woman's body after giving birth is so in flux. Like the hormones have completely changed.
And
like
you can't feel
everything's
muscles.
bigger.
You can't feel things.
The muscles have been stretched. They're not working right. Like 100%. So nobody looks at you different. When you can't control something, you can't control it.
Right.
Yeah.
But yeah. So
but I get why it's embarrassing.
Oh my gosh. And I mean, funny. I can just imagine that is probably on some bloopers thing somewhere.
It's like Bridesmaids.
You know that all of that was caught on camera. There is no doubt.
It's coming out of me like lava.
Yeah.
Oh God. So
it's good.
So yeah, that was not really the funniest thing.
I don't know. It's pretty damn funny.
But definitely the most embarrassing thing.
I mean, 21 years later, it's pretty funny.
Yeah.
And on that note, do you think we should wrap it up?
I mean, God, on that note, can we ask one more? We cannot wrap it up on that note.
Ask something that we can answer quickly.
Oh my gosh. Okay, Janine.
What?
Oh my gosh. Okay.
I so should have been drinking for this episode.
What are you looking for out of dating, Andrea?
I am looking for a relationship. That's what I want to be in a relationship. I want to be with somebody who I have fun with, who I have great conversations with, that is intelligent. Obviously, good physical connection, because we've now let the cat out of the bag
that's very important to you.
It's important to me. Thanks, Carolina.
Which is healthy. There's nothing wrong with that.
I know, but I'm so keep that on the DL.
Why?
I don't know. Maybe how I grew up, where, we're talking on the last episode, you grew up in the church and you don't talk about sex, at all, right?
Well,
so I don't know.
Times have changed and this is sweet and spicy.
I know.
Keep things dicey.
Right. Look, we let it out of the bag. It's out in the world.
I'm pulling it out of you. I have to keep
I know. But
marriage, kids.
marriage, for sure, that would be my end goal because, you know, I haven't done it. I know you say you would never have to get married again, but you've done it. Like, to me, that would be like, I do think there's a different level of commitment with somebody. To some people, that's not the good thing, but to me, that's a good thing of.
And the reason why I say I don't need it is because I've already had it twice.
Right.
For somebody who has not been married yet, 100% you should experience that.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm not saying that you shouldn't because it sucks.
Yeah. And I mean, I think if it was with the right person, would I explore having a kid? Yes. Do I think that's rapidly behind me? Probably. And what's more important is the connection with the partner. So that, I think that wraps it up pretty good, right? Like sums it up well.
Yeah.
Humor. I want somebody to be a friend with. Like, it has to be built on friendship because there is a lot more than physical, and that can fade. Like, you're out of the honeymoon period, of course, right? And you know, I'm no spring chicken, as my grandma used to say at 90. Was the best. You know, it fades. Menopause is coming. That changes things. Like, it can change things, but it has to be built on a friendship and like commonality, great conversations, intelligence, like a level of intelligence that matches each other, because I like that, you know?
Right.
And what are you looking for?
Obviously I've been married twice, so I'm not necessarily looking to get married, although I'm not opposed to it.
Right.
You know, I've been in a relationship now for 4 months, and if he were to propose, I would say yes.
Mm-hmm. Right now?
Yep. I would say yes right now.
Interesting.
But I would be okay if it didn't happen. Like, if we just were how we are, that's fine too. I'm not looking to have more kids.
Yeah.
Obviously. And, but just somebody to laugh with. That's a big thing for me. And that is probably the best thing that I have with him, is we are always laughing.
Yeah.
So just somebody to laugh with and just enjoy life with. And whether we're married or not, I don't think really makes a difference. But I would say yes if that came to happen. Yeah.
Awesome.
Okay, so Janine.
What am I looking for in a relationship?
With your...
Out of dating, no, just kidding. Out of your partnership with Roy.
So my favorite thing about one of my favorite things is that he kind of gives me total access control to the remote control. And it really makes me happy because, like, last night I made him watch season 3 of Bridgerton, and I'm like obsessed with the whole Netflix series, and he just takes it like a champ.
I love it.
He just like takes it. He just sits there and makes popcorn and thinks I'm nuts and doesn't say a word.
I was going to say, he thinks it's probably the stupidest show ever.
Yeah. Yeah, he watches.
My favorite, Janine.
His favorite show is Swamp People.
Oh my
I'll
God.
walk in the house and he's probably watching Swamp People now, and they're killing alligators and just doing crazy stuff. I mean, or Pawn Shop, okay, or Pawn Stars or whatever that is. Like, he's like a caveman.
Yeah, but it's kind of why you like him.
It is. It's kind of why I like him. But I love the fact that I can just put on Bridgerton and period pieces, and he just doesn't say a word. That's all.
I can tell when I'm around you two that he is all about making you happy.
100%.
He is.
Just wants to make you happy.
He does. He's good. He's a good one for sure.
Yeah, you guys have a great but he wants to make you happy, but you also like want to make him happy, and you want to entertain him, and you want him around most of the time. Like, there's times you're like, okay, go home and take care of the dogs or something, but it's the ebb and flow of the way you guys are with each other is really beautiful.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah.
We love
And
each other.
it's like you're his queen, and you can tell.
100%.
I feel like that. Neither of us are perfect, but I think the imperfections, it's just, you got to laugh at it. You know, you're never going to find someone that at the end of the day, you're never going to find someone that like, I guess you can find someone that checks all your boxes, but what you think are your boxes that change over time as you get older and realize what priorities are and what's important, I think. So would I like a rich man and to be on a yacht and to not work? Maybe.
But not if he's an asshole.
Exactly.
Or 70 when you're 20.
Exactly. Like I'm content knowing that I can go home and watch Bridgerton and sit with my dogs on the couch. That makes me very happy.
Yeah. I think as long as I just like that, I just want to be somebody's queen.
Yeah.
That's it. No, I don't care about the money. I don't care about anything else. If I can feel like I'm somebody's queen, I'm good.
Yeah. It 100% I like that. And like that intellectual connection for me is so important. It's called sapiosexual, meaning you're attracted to intelligence. And it really is a thing. Like I cannot deal with a dumb person.
I'm 100% a sapiosexual.
Yeah.
I identify as a sapiosexual.
I mean, I just don't think any of us can put up with somebody
That's the first time I've ever heard that term.
Yeah. It's very important to me. I've talked about it with the boat captain.
The word sexual is in there, so it's very important to you. I can see that.
Well, but it's more than that. It is talking about a turn on, but it is about intelligence. Like, because, I mean, you could have the hottest looking man and he's dumb as a box of rocks. It's not going to do it for me.
Right, of course. No, of course.
Right?
100%.
So that's what that means.
Yeah.
But, so I think that was good.
Yeah, we'll do this again because there's a lot more questions to uncover.
Have a little
We're going to get more
entry.
dicey next time. I'm going to look up dicier questions.
I like it.
On that note.
Getting dicey. On that note, be sure to
stay tuned.